Why are you playing music? It's really important. If it's for fame and fortune, just to get down to it, that could happen. But when I've had students in the past, one of the things that we always talked about right away is to be having fun with what you're doing, because music is fun. That's what it's supposed to be more than anything. You're having fun with it. And if you're having fun, you want to keep doing it, which to me is the whole point. Anybody in any line of work, if you're enjoying your work, you're more prone to be productive in it and want to keep doing it and love it, and it's not work. You don't want to quit. So my goal in music, first of all and foremost, is what it's always been, to have fun. I've been playing guitar for about 48 years, I would say. I started out as a pretty young kid and got sidetracked sometimes with life and playing other instruments, being in bands, stuff like that, and finally ended up being a solo guitarist, which I've done for the past 30 years. We're going to talk about the time that you do have. People think they need all this time to do it, like blocks of 3 to 4 hours. A little bit of my story, just so you know it and might be interested. I was a single parent of 4 kids, so I only had so much time. I didn't have blocks of an hour or 2 or 3 most of the time. I had blocks of 5 minutes. So you can be productive using the time that you have in blocks of maybe 5 or 10 minutes. It's frustrating, but you can learn how to do it. And one thing I found out with playing, as long as we're talking about having fun and playing, is I've run into a lot of people that they want to be an intermediate player. They've been playing on a beginner level forever. And one thing I found out myself when I was doing this is there's a couple times I practiced when I could, like a lot of times everybody would be in bed, that's when I would start practicing, sometimes at 11 at night. And I'd practice till 2 or 3 in the morning. I did that for hours and days and days and days. And it's sort of like you can make like a hyper jump. I remember the first time I went into a studio to record solo guitar. I was really excited and had all these songs worked up. And I decided to go in the studio 2 hours at a time, or 2 songs at a time. Hoped I'd get 1 song per hour, because studio time was expensive back then. But I went in, this guy wanted to record me, but I went in and my technical ability didn't match the songs I was writing. In other words, I couldn't get through them. I had things I wanted to do technically, but I wasn't good enough. So he finally said to me, we're going to be here in a year. Why don't you just come back in a year? Play really hard, practice really hard. And I was really disappointed, believe me. But when I went back a year later, I was ready. And those songs were ready. And I was a better player because I kind of made this hyper jump from playing at a certain level, and from the hours that I put in, the time that I put in. I was pretty relentless about the time I spent. I spent every minute of every day, whenever I could, doing this. And it paid off. So I would recommend to anybody, if you can, and if you want to, if you're driven that way. See, I was driven that way. A lot of people, you aren't driven that way, but you want to have fun. But still, to make this next level jump, sometimes you just have to put in the work to do it, like you would with anything. If you want to play music, if you don't write music, there's a way to interpret someone else's music. If you're playing live, there's a way to do that, to make it your own. And that's what I love about hearing music and listening to music, that there might be a song that I even know, but someone else has this amazing version of it that I never would have thought about doing. And now, why did that happen? Because that's what that person brings to that song. That's what that person brings to music. We all have something we can bring to music. Now think of it in terms of any occupation. If you're a doctor, if you're a scientist, everybody has something they bring to it the way they think, the way they reason. It's the same thing with music. The way you think, the way you reason, the way you hear, all has to do with how you're going to perform or play or write a song. So in that regard, everybody is unique. Everybody has an idea, and it's going to sound different than another person. And I think that's what's so valuable about hearing people play all different kinds of instruments. I mean, we're talking about guitar, but I like saxophone. So I can listen to all different kinds of saxophone players like Yusef Lateef, Chris Potter, Ronnie Laws, it goes on the list, John Coltrane. But they're all going to sound different because that's what they bring to the instrument and what they bring to the music. So my point is there's a place for everyone. It's just timing, that's all. And that doesn't mean to be rich and famous, it just means to be playing music that you love and something you're going to enjoy and other people are going to enjoy. I remember I was giving lessons to a couple different people, and this was years ago, and this guy could play, but he was a beginner level for sure. And so I was teaching him a few things, and he came to me about 3 months after he was taking lessons, and he said he was going to record this album. And I told him my experience when I started, and I said, "Are you sure you're ready for this? Because I don't know if you're ready." He said, "I don't want you to waste your money. Now, I don't want to take your dream away. That's not what I'm saying. But you might not be ready to do this, technically." No, I'm ready. And anyway, went in the studio, spent a lot of money, and it didn't work for him at all. And so, one thing I've noticed, a lot of people are this way. A lot of things are this way, occupations, but sometimes people, they're so excited by what they're trying to accomplish with their life, they take too big of a bite off too soon. My job is not to tell anyone they can't do it, but maybe there's a timing for it. And it's one thing, don't get carried away too soon. I mean, like I said in the beginning, this is really to have fun with music. And as you go along, you get technically better, and then you might want to record yourself. You might want to do something like that. And it takes it to a different level. Now you want to play live. I remember one of the first times that I was ready to play live as a solo guitarist. I'd been in bands, I'd done a lot of playing, but it was kind of nervous because here I am by myself. It's either a bad night or it's not. And someone hired me to play in a restaurant. I only knew like 10 songs, but I had a few more months to learn a few more songs. So I figured, okay, by the time I played that 20th song in a restaurant, what was going to happen was there's going to be a whole new, the restaurant would have turned over. There'd be that many new people in the restaurant. So if I could play 10 songs or 12 songs and last maybe for 45 minutes, take a break, come out and play another half an hour, you just start over with those songs, and that's exactly what happened. And I was quickly trying to learn more songs, so I ended up playing 2 different restaurant gigs at 2 different times for like 4 to 5 nights a week. And that's how I started doing that. And then when I started doing some concerts, that was a little different thing, because I'm just getting up there playing, not realizing, okay, now I gotta talk. What am I gonna talk about? We'll talk about that in another video someday. But this video is just about remembering all the time why you're playing music. It's to have fun. Because if you're not going to have fun with it, you won't continue doing it. It's sort of like, I used to take piano lessons, and the teacher I had, she'd hit my hand with a ruler. This was many years ago, if I got something wrong. And it's like the dog getting hit on the nose with a newspaper. After a while, it's not fun anymore. And I was nervous about having those lessons. So That's not what this is supposed to be. Have fun. That's what music is about.